The mystery of the shadows. Long ago, when the earth was still young and the stars spoke to men in whispers, there lived a creature unlike any other. His name was Bat. Neither bird nor beast, he carried wings like a bird yet teeth like a rat. In the villages of the great forest, the people often asked, "Why does the bat not fly under the sun like the other birds? Why does he only wander when the moon has risen?" The elders would smile, their eyes deep with memory, and say, "Ah, that is a tale of friendship, envy, and tragedy. A tale that reminds us how even the cleverest can be brought down by suspicion and greed." And so, around the glowing fire, while the drums of the night softened and the scent of roasted yam filled the air, the storyteller's voice would rise. "Listen, children of tomorrow. Listen, mothers and fathers. Tonight, I will tell you why Bat hides from the light of day, flying only when shadows stretch long and the world is quiet. There was once a time when Bat walked freely under the sun. He was not feared then nor cursed. In those days, Bat was known far and wide as a master of cooking. His meals were said to be sweeter than honey, richer than palm oil, and softer than ripe plantain. Whenever the village held a feast, Bat's food was the first to be finished. By his side was his closest companion, Bush Rat, a greedy yet curious fellow with whiskers twitching and eyes always watching. Where Bat was careful, Bush Rat was careless. Where Bat was wise, Bush Rat was restless. Yet they shared their days together, laughing, eating, and walking the forest paths. But what is friendship if not a test of envy? For while Bush Rat smiled with Bat, inside his heart a question grew like a thorn. Why is Bat's food always sweeter than mine? What secret does he hide in his kitchen? And why should I, Bush Rat, always remain second best? And so, dear listener, the story begins, with a friendship soon to be tested, and a secret soon to be revealed. The gift of flavor. In those days, the forest was alive with sounds. Parrots chattering high in the Iroko trees, antelopes leaping through the tall grass, and the steady pounding of pestles as women prepared yam flour in the village square. Bat and Bush Rat often sat together in Bat's compound, where a small clay hearth glowed with firewood. Bat would bring out his calabash bowls and set aside a pot that always seemed to release the most mouth-watering aroma. With a mischievous smile, Bush Rat would sniff the air and ask, Brother Bat, what spice do you use? How do you make palm oil dance upon the tongue like this?" Bat would only laugh, his wings folding close around him like a cloak. "Ah, my friend," he would reply, "cooking is not only about spices. It is about patience, care, and knowing when to wait. The pot reveals its sweetness only to the one who does not rush it." Bush Rat would nod, pretending to understand, but his heart twisted with envy. For whenever Bush Rat cooked, the villagers only ate to fill their bellies, never to delight their tongues. Yet when Bat cooked, children licked their fingers, elders smacked their lips, and even the dogs wagged their tails long after the feast was over. One market day, the chiefs held a great celebration to honor the harvest. Goats were roasted, palm wine flowed, and drums shook the earth. Every family brought food, but once again, it was Bat's dish that vanished first, leaving Bush Rat to gnaw his own cooking alone. That night, Bush Rat could not sleep. He turned on his mat, his whiskers twitching in the dark. His heart spoke louder than the crickets outside. "Tomorrow, I will find out this secret. I will not remain a shadow beside him. I too will cook food that all men praise." The moonlight slipped across his restless eyes. A plan was forming, one that would soon change the fate of Bat forever. The secret stolen the next morning, the village stirred with its usual rhythm. Women fetching water in calabashes, men sharpening cutlasses for the farm, children chasing goats through the dust. But in the shadows, Bush Rat was plotting. He sharpened his teeth on a kola nut and whispered to himself, "Tonight, I will creep into Bat's hut. I will see with my own eyes what makes his food sweeter than mine. Then I shall become the greatest cook of the forest." That evening, Bat prepared another meal. The scent of smoked fish, palm oil, and pepper leaves filled the air until even the trees seemed to lean closer. Bush Rat sat nearby, pretending to laugh at Bat's stories, but his eyes never left the pot. When the food was ready, Bat called him over. "Come, friend, let us eat." They shared the meal, and once again Bush Rat marveled at the flavor. But this time he forced a smile and said, "Ah, Brother Bat, I am so full. I shall rest early tonight." Bat, unsuspecting, nodded. "Rest well, my friend. Tomorrow is another day." But Bush Rat did not rest. He waited until the moon climbed high and the crickets sang. Then, as silently as the shadows, he crept into Bat's kitchen. There, by the glow of dying embers, he saw the clay pot. Lifting the lid, his eyes widened. Inside lay not pepper nor spice, but a secret none would ever believe. For Bat had used his own heart's blood to season the food. Each time he cooked, he pricked himself slightly, letting a drop fall into the stew. It was this sacrifice, this strange magic, that gave his meals their unforgettable taste. Bush Rat gasped. His whiskers trembled. So this is the secret. No wonder the people love his food. But if I tell them, if I reveal it, Bat will be ruined. Then no one will praise him more than me. The rat's greed grew heavy inside him. And in that moment, friendship was forgotten. The feast of betrayal, the sun rose bright over the village. Smoke rose from cooking fires, goats bleated, and children's laughter echoed across the compounds. That day, the elders announced another grand feast to celebrate the yam harvest. Every family was expected to bring their finest dish. Bush Rat's eyes glistened with excitement. This is my chance, he thought. Today I will expose Bat. Then the praise of men will be mine forever. He hurried to the square where villagers gathered beneath the giant baobab tree. Drummers beat rhythms that stirred the air, and women sang as they laid out steaming dishes of yam porridge, roasted plantain, and groundnut soup. Soon Bat arrived, calm and confident, carrying his clay pot. The smell of his cooking made even the elders' mouths water before they had tasted it. Bush Rat followed close behind, his whiskers twitching with anticipation. When it was time to eat, the crowd gathered. The chief lifted his staff. Let us begin. Let the best dish among us be known today. People rushed to taste Bat's food first. As always, their faces lit with joy. Children clapped, elders nodded in approval, and the women sang praises. But just as Bat was smiling with pride, Bush Rat leapt forward and shouted, "Wait! Do not be deceived by this trickster's cooking. Do you know what makes his food so sweet? It is not skill, not patience, it is blood. He uses his own blood to season the pot." The crowd gasped. Some dropped their calabashes, staring at Bat in horror. "Is this true?" the chief thundered, his eyes sharp as a spear. Bat trembled. His wings folded tight against him. "I," he began, but the crowd erupted. "Witchcraft," cried one. "Abomination," shouted another. "Who will eat blood and call it food?" In a moment, all the love they had showered on Bat turned into disgust. Mothers pulled their children close. Men spat into the dust, and even the dogs backed away, growling. Bush Rat stood tall, his heart swelling with pride. "See," he said, "this Bat is no friend of ours. He is a deceiver. Let us never eat his food again." And from that day, the village turned its back on Bat. The lonely flight that night, Bat sat alone in his hut, his heart heavy with sorrow. The drums of the feast still echoed in the distance, but none of it reached him. The laughter that once surrounded him had turned into whispers of fear and disgust. He looked at his clay pot. His pride, his secret, his gift. Now it had become his curse. "Was it wrong?" he whispered to the shadows. "Did I not give part of myself so others might be filled with joy? Yet they see only evil." A single tear fell from his eye, mixing with the ashes of the fire. Suddenly, stones clattered against his roof. Angry voices rose outside. "Leave our village, Bat. We do not want your witchcraft here. Go before we burn your hut to the ground." Bat's heart raced. Fear wrapped around him like a cold wind. He knew the people would never forgive him. With trembling wings, he gathered what little he owned, his pot, his mortar and pestle, and a bundle of dried leaves. But as he tried to step out, a stone struck him across the brow. Pain seared his head and he stumbled back. The villagers were coming with fire. Their torches lit the night like angry stars. Bat realized then that he could never again live among them. He spread his wings wide, something he rarely did in daylight, and with a powerful flap, he rose into the air. The villagers gasped. Children screamed, women hid their faces, and men hurled insults at the sky. "Fly, witch! Fly and never return," they shouted. Bat soared higher and higher, leaving behind the village that once praised him. The moon was his only companion, the night his only refuge. From that day he chose the darkness. For in the night no one mocked him. No stones followed him. Only silence, broken by the cry of owls and the rustle of trees, kept him company. And so it is said, Bat became a creature of the night, not because he loved it, but because the cruelty of men left him no place in the day. The rats triumphed while Bat disappeared into the night. Bush Rat sat in the center of the feast, basking in praise. The villagers surrounded him, clapping and nodding, their voices rising in approval. "You are wise, Bush Rat," said the elders. "You saved us from witchcraft," cried the mothers. "Your tongue is sharp and true," the young men added. Bush Rat puffed out his chest. Never before had the spotlight shone so brightly on him. For once no one spoke of Bat. No one sang his praises. Instead, all eyes were on Bush Rat, the great exposer of evil. He strutted around the square, his whiskers twitching with pride. Now, he thought, the chief will honor me. Perhaps I will even be invited to sit at the council fire. Soon, no feast will be complete without Bush Rat. That evening, as the drums slowed and the crowd dispersed, Bush Rat was given the first share of food, a steaming bowl of yam porridge with palm oil and pepper. He ate greedily, licking the calabash clean until nothing remained. For days, Bush Rat enjoyed the warmth of respect. Whenever he walked through the village, women pointed and whispered, "That is the one who saved us." Children followed him, clapping their little hands. The elders even promised him a place of honor at the next gathering. But pride is a cloak that blinds the wearer. Bush Rat grew careless. He forgot the caution of his kind. No longer did he sneak about the farms at night. Instead, he boldly strutted into yam barns in broad daylight, nibbling at stores he thought were his by right. Farmers began to complain. "Look at this rat. Has he no shame? He steals openly, yet we are to call him hero? Perhaps he is no better than the bat he exposed." Whispers began to rise just as they once had against Bat. And soon, the very mouths that had praised Bush Rat began to spit his name with contempt. For though men cheer quickly, they turn even faster when their stomachs are empty. The curse of hunger. Bush Rat grew fatter with each passing day. He ate more than the chief's dogs, more than the goats tied to the market poles, more even than some families could afford. But no matter how much he swallowed, his belly always rumbled again by nightfall. It was as though a spirit of hunger had entered him the day he betrayed Bat. He raided yam barns in broad daylight, gnawed at baskets of dried fish, and even crept into kitchens while women cooked. At first the people laughed. "Ah, our Bush Rat is greedy indeed," they chuckled. But when children cried because their supper was gone, when farmers found their stores ruined, and when the chief himself discovered his prized groundnuts missing, laughter turned to anger. "This is no ordinary hunger," said the elders. "It is a curse," muttered the diviner. "The curse of betrayal," whispered the oldest grandmother, her eyes clouded with wisdom. And indeed it was so. For on the night Bat fled, he cried to the moon, "May Bush Rat never know satisfaction. Let his stomach be a drum that cannot be filled. Let his teeth be restless until they gnaw everything in sight." From that night, Bush Rat's belly became a bottomless pit. Desperate, he began sneaking into huts at midnight, chewing through calabashes, biting holes in clay pots, and scattering grains across the floor. His red eyes glowed in the dark, his whiskers twitched like restless drums, and his teeth scraped on wood like the sound of evil spirits. Mothers began to warn their children, "Do not leave your food uncovered or Bush Rat will eat it." Fathers set traps by the fireside. And still Bush Rat's hunger grew. He could never stop. He could never rest. His betrayal had become his punishment, written into his flesh. Thus the people's love turned into hatred. From hero, Bush Rat became a pest. From honored guest, he became the thief no home could tolerate. And to this day, his kind still scurry through barns and kitchens, forever gnawing, forever starving, because of one selfish act at the feast of long ago. The bat's wanderings far from the laughter of the feast, Bat flew through the endless night. His wings ached, but he dared not land. Every shadow seemed to hold the whisper of Bush Rat's accusation. Every gust of wind carried the memory of the villagers' angry cries. He sought shelter in the tall trees by the river, but the birds chased him away. "You are neither bird nor beast," they screeched. "You are a traitor who eats what we do not." He tried to rest in the caves, but the owls hissed at him. "You bring misfortune with your false teeth," they hooted. Even the ground animals refused him. The squirrels, the antelopes, the bush dogs, all turned their backs. None would share their dens for fear that Bat's shame would stain them too. So Bat wandered, flying endlessly, searching for a place where he belonged. Loneliness became his closest companion. Hunger gnawed at his belly, but he dared not land where men could see. And so he learned to hunt in secret, chasing small insects that floated on the night breeze. The moon watched with pity. "Come, child of twilight," she whispered. "The day has rejected you, but the night will hide you." From then on, Bat kept to the hours when the sun was gone. When the villagers slept, he soared quietly, darting from shadow to shadow. When roosters crowed, he vanished into caves and hollow trees, hanging upside down, hiding from the world that cast him away. Yet in his heart, the wound of betrayal never healed. Each flap of his wings carried sorrow. Each night was another reminder of the feast that ruined him. Still, Bat learned to live where others could not. He became master of the darkness, moving silently where no hunter could catch him. His eyes grew sharp, his ears keen, his wings swift. And so, though men scorned him, the night became his kingdom. That is why, to this day, Bat is seen only after dusk, flying swiftly under the moon, never daring to face the sun or the people who once cursed his name. The village learns the truth. Seasons passed. The rains came and went. The people still muttered about Bat, but they had greater troubles. Bush rats, endless thievery. No barn was safe. No kitchen was secure. Every night, food vanished. Mothers wept over empty pots. Farmers wailed over missing yams. Even the chief grew thin, for his prized groundnuts disappeared faster than they could be harvested. The elders called a gathering. They lit the great fire in the square and summoned the diviner, who cast cowrie shells upon the earth. He shook his head gravely. The trouble that eats your barns is the same trouble you once honored as a guest. It is Bush Rat. His hunger is cursed. Until he is punished, your suffering will not end. Gasps rose from the crowd. Bush Rat? But he was the one who exposed Bat. The diviner's eyes burned like coals. Exposed him? No, he betrayed him. Bat was innocent. He ate no corn. He drank no palm wine. Bush Rat tricked you all, and because you rejoiced at a lie, you now taste the fruit of deceit. Silence fell heavy over the square. Faces burned with shame. The old grandmother who had once defended Bat struck her staff on the ground. I warned you. You judged too quickly, and now you see the truth. The villagers remembered Bat's gentle ways, his quiet voice, his loyalty at every feast before. None could recall him ever stealing food. Tears filled their eyes, but it was too late. Let us call him back, one farmer cried. Yes, let us beg his forgiveness, said another. But the diviner only shook his head. You may cry to the hills, you may beat your drums till dawn, but Bat will not return. He has taken the night as his home. Once trust is broken, it is not easily healed. So the people mourned. They cursed Bush Rat, but he had already fled to the bushes, hiding in dark holes. And they longed for Bat, but his wings were lost to them, hidden in the endless sky. From that day they warned their children, beware the tongue that betrays a friend. Its reward is shame, and its punishment is endless hunger. The lesson of the Bat years passed, yet the memory of Bat's exile never faded. The villagers often saw him, darting like a shadow across the moon, wings whispering in the still night air. Mothers would hush their children, pointing upward. See him? That is Bat, the one betrayed by Bush Rat. He hides from the day because trust was broken. Children asked, will he ever return to the feast? The elders shook their heads. No. Once a heart is scarred by betrayal, it may forgive, but it never forgets. The wound shapes the path one walks. And so Bat became a living lesson. His lonely flight reminded the people of what happens when truth is buried under lies. Bush Rat's name became a curse. To this day, he scurries only in shadows, never welcome at feasts, never trusted in kitchens. His greed branded him forever. But Bat, though rejected, found strength in his exile. He mastered the night, hearing what others could not, seeing where others were blind. His wings cut silently through the darkness, swift as thought, sharp as memory. The people learned two things from his story. Trust is precious. Once broken, it cannot be easily mended. Every betrayal brings its punishment. The betrayer eats but is never full, while the betrayed may suffer yet find new strength. So even now, when night falls in Africa and children hear the flutter of wings overhead, they whisper, there goes Bat, the one who flies at night. Remember his story, remember his sorrow. Let us live with honesty so we do not drive away those who love us. And thus, the tale of Bat is told from fire to fire, from elder to child, a tale of betrayal, justice, and wisdom carved into the stars above. Don't forget to like, comment, and share so that more people can know about this story. If you believe betrayal is wrong, subscribe to this channel for more African stories. Do you think the Bat deserved his fate? Do you think Bush Rat could have done better? Share your thoughts in the comment below.